The Bible was talking to us how that God disguised himself as a man and he was walking through Mamre. And he said, Abraham sat at the gate. Meanwhile, that's a posture of prayer. He sat at the gate because he was legislating over the territory. And even though God disguised himself, the man knew God too well. God couldn't hide from him anymore. And he said, sirs, please come. He said, no, we won't come. He said, please come. And he brought them and made a feast for them. When they were going, seeing that Abraham causes men to walk in righteousness, how can I hide something from that man? So there are men that God becomes vulnerable with. Those are the kind of men that have decided to put self away. And they begin to live only to please that which concerns God. And one of the things that is prime in God's priorities is to turn men to righteousness. This was Abraham's predisposition, to cause everybody around him to walk in righteousness. God said, because Abraham is like this, I can't hide anything. Even if I wanted to, I can't. So God told Abraham, I'm going to Sodom to destroy it. And Abraham entered his office again as an intercessor. And he began to plead with God. Let my Lord not be angry with me. You know, sometimes when we pray for long, you will discover that we are praying prayers that is bigger than give me. Those of us who carry shopping lists to God, after 10 minutes, I assure you, you'll be exhausted. But those who pray the burdens of God, the more you pray, the more you want to pray. Because you are praying from another economy. Let my Lord not be angry with me. What if you find 50 righteous men? And God turned to him and said, if I find 50 righteous men, I will spare the city. And God was going again. And he said, oh, this one more time, let me speak before the God of heaven. What if you find 40 righteous men? And Abraham prayed until he reached 10. He thought Lot had learned something. He didn't know that when Lot was with him, Lot was learning how to rear cattle and cattle alone. He thought that by all means, Lot will have at least 10 people who are righteous. But Lot didn't learn what matters the most. You know, the reason Lot separated from Abraham is because their headsmen were quarreling. He has mastered the business. He knows how to trade and to invest. He knows what to do to win. He went to Sodom. And when darkness came, when evil came, when judgment came, it was shown that Lot knew nothing. His years of training was a waste because all he learned was how to make money. See, if you deal with God, there are 3 realms. The first realm of your dealing with God is the realm of receiving. The second realm of your dealing with God is the realm of the application of the principles of the kingdom. So you are not necessarily asking God, give me. You know what to do to get. That's where Lot stopped. The third realm of dealing with God is beyond asking, is beyond principles, it's intimacy. That's the realm of life, to know him. And Lot didn't reach there. So Lot thought it was just about succeeding, and he mastered it. Did you read Luke chapter 16? The guy applied all the purity correctly, and it's beautiful. I encourage you to know it, because in this life, everyone who is great is a better tool in the hand of God. But the problem with him is that he only applied principles, he didn't know God. And when his barn was full, he said, now will my soul rest? And God looked from heaven and said, you fool. That means the definition of a fool is not necessarily a non-entity. It's a man that lives without God. The Bible says a fool says in his heart, there's no God. He had applied the principle, but he had no relationship with God. And he said, you fool. That was the realm Lot was walking in. He was about cattle and sheep, and he gathered them everywhere. But when he went to a city, he didn't know that there is an interaction you have with God in order to keep a city. Abraham kept Bethel, but Lot could not keep Sodom and Gomorrah. And the day Sodom was to be destroyed, Lot had not raised 10 righteous men. He had 1,000 cattle. Do you see why many times death just comes into a family and picks somebody, and then we come say, God, why? What do you mean, God, why? If there are no gatekeepers, darkness will come. He said there is an evil day. When that evil day comes, it's not because God is not strong, it's because your strength is little. Because there's a realm you get to that God waits upon you. He is looking for salts of the earth and the lights of the world. Only those who can labor in the spirit can get there. Most of the questions we ask God are the questions He's asking us. The problem is that we are deaf. God, why? When you were supposed to keep the gates, you are pursuing things. And the prince of darkness comes with wickedness. And you are thinking God will show up all of a sudden. He's not an ATM machine. He's a being. And so God entered Sodom. There were no 10 righteous men. Then what are you doing in Sodom? You have been in Sodom for many years. What are you doing? Meanwhile, Abraham, who was keeping the altar, was growing bigger and bigger. Because promotion does not come from the east. It does not come from the north, the south, nor the west. It cometh from the Lord. The strategy you need to excel in your job is a wisdom that comes from God. The favor you need is a wisdom that comes from God. In addition to all you do, there must be a realm of intimacy. That was what Abraham knew. And the day God was passing, Abraham was at the gate. He said he was in Mamre. He was praying.